How you doing? My name is Deri Tyton, and I am a screenwriter from Chicago, Illinois that lives in Atlanta, Georgia. Nobody falls in love with film. You have to have a passion for it. Because love doesn't hurt, film hurts. Like filmmaking to make you cry. It is a very hard process. But to answer the question, in Chicago, Illinois, they used to have all these movie theaters, right? And you can see 2 movies for the price of 1. And then being there, you can be there all day. So I would go and I would watch the same movies over: Chinese Connection, Fist of Fury, 976 Evil. I would watch all of these movies over and over and over. And from there, I used to have to go to the library. My mother had a boyfriend and she always wanted to spend time with him. So she would send me 2 miles away to a library, and I would walk to the library. I was probably about 11, 10, 9, somewhere up in there. So I started reading a lot of books, but on my way to the library, I always envisioned myself of this hero in all of these stories. So not only watching films and then imagining myself to be a hero in the Star Wars stories and all of these, because that's what I saw Star Wars 100 times. So, but imagining myself a part of this this world that I would never be able to be a part of, and that's filmmaking. I didn't know Black people went to film school. That's how weird it is. So that's where eventually when I started to kind of get into more of writing, I'm more of a writer. And when I started to, Artie Reese, the professor of the theater department at Chicago State University, asked me to be a part of a scene that was supposed to happen as a flashback scene for a play. And he had a camera and he had a microphone and a couple people. I was like, this how y'all make movies? I can make a movie. That's how it dawned on me. And I always had that vision to tell us, always wanted to tell stories. And I always said the only way I would tell stories was through books. But then when I had that experience, I saw I could tell stories through film. And it didn't cost a lot. And from there, it just grew on me. My personal brand is Deri Tyton at Legendari. And the thing that really inspires me the most is the fact that I am a story shower. I am a story show. So there are storytellers who love to tell their story. But in writing, you have to show what you're doing. There's action and dialogue, and you have to, when a person is reading, they want to be able to visualize what they're reading. So you want to be able to show them through the words that's on the page. So my brand is always to be confident, to be passionate, always to use charisma, to be charismatic. And I always wanted to tell Black love stories. That is the most important reason. That is the only reason why I really got into actually writing and filmmaking, because I always wanted to tell Black love stories, and I wanted them to be interpersonal as well as intrapersonal, and I wanted them to be able to father sons, brothers, those are love relationships that I wanted to explore. Mothers and daughters.
Not necessarily all the romantic ones, but
right.
Any human to human interaction.
Any human to human interaction. In terms of a love story, I want to tell. And love is hard. Loving is hard. Love is very hard. My favorite movies are Claudine, and which of course is Black, this Black love story, right? Mm-hmm. But the other Black love story which is my favorite film, is Coolie High, and that's a love between 2 brothers, right? And that love is so monumental to that story. You understand what I'm saying? Because you see these brothers as they are growing, evolving through this whole entire process of senior year. What are we going to do after senior year? And you see the complications within them, right? So my drive comes from what Michael Schultz did with that particular story of Cooley High, and just knowing that that's what I want to do. Like the very end of Cooley High, the very end of Claudine, it makes you want to know what happened to these individuals, like going forward. Like even though they tell you, but you want to keep reliving the experience. Like I cry, and I'm about to I'm like getting a little emotional now, but Cooley High affects me the same way. I don't know how to write like that. But that's what drives me to write, because I want to affect people that way. That is such, and writing is emotional.
And of course, Cooley High being a Chicago-based film, and you were growing up, probably even saw that production during your childhood.
And where did Coach Cheese want to go to school at? Grambling State University. I did attend Grambling State University. Okay, everybody have a movie that they have to do, right?
Your passion project.
My passion project. It's called The Somebodies, right? So I love football, right? And I love strong women lead characters, right? So there's a lady in Memphis named Shirley McCray. She was the first woman football coach in the world, right? And I met her. Like a week before I was moving to Los Angeles, I met her. And the funny thing about meeting her was I didn't even know that person existed. I knew a movie like that existed. That movie is called Wildcats. The movie Wildcats with Goldie Hawn is based on her life. But they changed the character to be a white woman that's in Chicago. So now I have the book, right? So Coach Mac, has this empowering, beautiful story that must be told. That's my passion project. But currently I'm just working on a romantic comedy that deals with dating in the digital age. It's an app. So it's really funny and it's needed. It's really needed in terms of dating. Because a lot of times we're dating, it's called 101 Ways to Date with No Money. And that's kind of, I'm trying to instill in people that it's okay to get to know each other and not always have to impress each other. So you have, on one side, you have a young lady who makes a lot of money, and on the other side, you have a young man who doesn't make a lot of money, but he feels he has to impress, and she feels she's tired of being impressed. So when you put them two together, he doesn't believe it, that he can actually date her without the money, and she thinks he can, but she doesn't know how to convey that message to him, that how it's possible or plausible. So it's romantic. It is a comedy. I wanted to set some parameters around the dating aspect going forward in the 21st century, and hopefully it does that. So.